Yes, now my dons, my G's, wagwan, it's your boy Manline Jazz back again with another video, fam. And today, blood, I just, I was in my emails the other day, fam, and I realized that I got the FIFA close beta. I wasn't gassed, I didn't really care for it. That's why I wasn't checking for it like that, But I thought, you know what, let me just record it. Copy it and thing, see what the game's saying and that. And just report to the mandem and see what what to expect in the game, fam. But obviously what you gotta keep in mind is the beta, fam. So the game's obviously gonna change, it's not gonna be exactly the same, fam. But I got a few pointers here, of what to just expect basically, blood. I got some gameplay in the back and that's some pro clubs gameplay. So I'm just gonna sit back and have a little chat, fam, and just enjoy the thing, fam. Also woke up today, heard the news about Chadwick Boseman, blood. If you don't know who that is, the guy that played Black Panther. Obviously he's played many other roles and thing, but that's the role that he's most known for, because it was Marvel. But apparently he passed away, blood, due to cancer and thing, fam, which was mad, fam, because I didn't even know the guy was sick like that. Man was always looking clean, he'd always looked healthy and that, fam. Obviously this is what I'm saying, fam, in these kind of industries and that, you gotta realize, fam, that people go through shit, blood, that you don't even know. It happens with footballers, actors, musicians, fam, whatever industry, gamers, blood. You just see what they want you to see, fam. You don't see behind the scenes shit, fam, unless you actually like follow them like that, really doing your in-depth research, or you're just a fucking creep, blood. Like, depending on whichever one you are, blood, just watch yourself, fam, because you can get bagged for that kind of ish. Either way, enough talking, fam. Let's get into this video, blood. So I played the beta, it was all against the CPU, play your career, Volta, and manage your career, blood. I played all of them, and we're going to get into some points, fam. First thing, the EA Sports load up screen intro changed, fam. The EA Sports to the game, that changed, fam. I'm sure bare people have already seen it now, fam. Now it's like you see like an American football, then a basketball, then American football helmet, and then a football, and then you see the EA Sports logo thing, which was mad, fam. I was like, mad thing, blood, finally, blood. But they still kept my man, though. They still kept my Donny, blood. They didn't change that, fam. You get me? Also, what I noticed, cam position is, I think it's been fixed, fam. It's more balanced now, because you remember pro clubs, you only had like 60 place, 71 place when you're at like 90 rated and that. It was a fucking joke. But I created a 6'1" player, 165 pounds like me. I don't think I'm 6'1", though. I think I'm like 6, brinking onto 6'1", but I'm not exactly 6'1". But either way, he had 77 pace, blood, 67 rated, 6'1", yeah, 165 pounds, blood, 77 pace, blood, that cam position, fam. Which, so yeah, I think it is like the stats are more balanced thing, finishing looks good and that, And if you're wondering, oh, why don't you just show us a closed beta gameplay? It's called a closed beta for a reason. You can't record the gameplay, fam, unless you want to do some bootleg thing and use your phone. PS4 do not allow you to record gameplay, bro. EA blocked all of that, fam, So, and even if you did record it from your phone, you're just gonna get taken down anyway. So yeah. Number 3, CPU, a bit weird, beginner to professional, all easy, then world class just has some mad jump, no gradual increase like usual, but still all beatable. Yeah, so from beginner all the way to professional, it's all easy, fam. Like, you just clap them, like, no problem. And then as soon as you get to world class, boom, there's just some next like completely different CPU, blood. All of a sudden they're making the tackles, making mad plays and that. There was no gradual increase in that, so that was a bit weird. That's another thing that I realized. Number 4, on world class above, the CPU is considerably faster in every way, so skill moves and passes have to be quick and executed well, or you'll get caught out. Now that ain't a secret, that's in every single FIFA, from like professional to world class, depending on your skill level. When you start to play a CPU that you're not too comfortable with, they're always faster, fam. You can't turn on them quickly, you can't outpace them. It's the passing, it's the skill moves, it's the intricate 1-2s, and that's what gets you, the intelligence. That's what beats the higher CPU, fam. So that's nothing different in that, but they were considerably faster, blood. Because I remember I was in the middle of the park trying to turn from my goal to the opposition's goal, blood, and it was taking hella long, blood. A player ran like 30 meters, boom, and reached me before I could just do a simple turn, fam. It was ridiculous. Then number 5, we got AI runs only effective in final third. still stagnant in build-up play, but the new triggered runs help, but you have to be precise, as wherever you flick the right stick after a pass is exactly where the ball is going. So obviously they said, oh, AI make more more convincing, more intelligent runs. That only matters in the final third, like the final third, bro. Listen to what I'm saying, in the final third, blood. So from the time your players near the back line, that's the only time they're going to make some next deadly run. But during build-up play, yeah, from in your box to their box, trying to get that final pass going, the actual build-up play, blood, your players are still stagnant, fam. They're still not moving, fam. Now, obviously I was playing CPU, so this is how the game reacts. This is what the game does to nullify you, blood. They can make your players stagnant and the CPU opposition is just moving around bare fast. That's what they do, blood, to nullify you. On Ultimate Team and Seasons and all of them things, it could be different, you know what I mean? Because as I said, I was playing against the CPU. Number 6, AI defending has been boosted and CPU slide tackling happens way more. For example, to tackle regularly and to intercept, they'll just do a mad slide tackle. You know, like against them people online, blood, that just slide tackle bare. That's what the CPU's like this year. Very annoying, blood, because they were acting like the CPU needed some mad boost, bro. They didn't. Last year they were OP as hell, blood. You know what I mean? To just beat him on, like, literally, it was like the flip-flop, a very precise ball roll, maybe the La Croqueta, the roulette doesn't always work, and that there was only like 3 or 4 skills that could really beat them, so they didn't really need to be boosted like that, but they were, blood. Now they're out here doing some mad slide tackling things, fam. It's very annoying, fam. I can't lie, fam. Their animations have also definitely changed. On professional, just like a noob on foot, they're lunging stupidly, so it can be easy to beat, but on world class above you got to be hasty. Yeah, so from like beginner to from beginner to professional, you know, like when you're playing against that guy on Ultimate Team that doesn't really know how to defend, kind of like me, and just makes mad lunges and misses the ball. That's kind of like what beginner to professional is. But when you go to world class, all of that gets, you know what I mean, unless you're right next to them and you beat them with a mad skill, then you can, you like, you know what I mean, do a mad thing. Nice pass, by the way, that was with a vision, and that you didn't see that, I did. But yeah, so unless you're like right next to the CPU on world class and like do some next skill move to make them lunge in, you know what I mean, then that's the only time they'll do that. But on professional to beginner, they just do some next lunges, fam. Like, why are you even doing that? I'm not even next to you yet and you're doing some mad lunges, you know what I mean? So that's also that. The number 7, AI still very fast defensively and will take two tries to beat clean, just like in FIFA 20. So yeah, I was on the wing, did a skill, beat them, he recovered, beat him, he recovered, beat him again, he recovered, then I just passed it off, which is once again annoying, fam. The AI is still very fast and that, fam. So that's basically the way EA let the CPU beat you, blood, because the CPU is not configured to be intelligent. They just boost all their stats up, you know what I mean, and then they just try to overwhelm you like that, fam. So it does take 1 or 2 tries to beat certain CPU in certain positions. Obviously in certain positions on the pitch you'll just need to do a 1 bam bang and you boom, you're gone. But more times you're gonna have to do, you know what I mean, 1 or more. Doing better talking, let me just take a sip of the juice and that. Now, number 8, to get booked is much easier by just tackling normally. I've already got a red card in pre-season on player career via 2 yellows, and so did an opposing CPU via 2 yellows. So yeah, I don't go to the ground. You've seen in my gameplay, I'm not really good at slide tackling, so I don't go to ground. So your timing of your tackles have to be precise, blood. The ball this year moves more freely than your last year. It's not, last year the ball was tight to your feet, so you can just make more risky challenges. This year the ball moves more freely, so if you mistime a tackle, you're not going to get the ball and you're going to end up clattering someone's legs and get booked and you're going to be off, fam. That happened to me in pre-season, fam, and then I went into the semi-final, blood, and these man lost because they didn't have me, blood. So nothing's really changed, blood, you know what I mean. Nothing's really changed, fam. The CPU's still dead, you know what I mean. I couldn't carry the team, so they obviously lost, fam. Number 9 is dribbling is faster. although AI is still faster. So basically FIFA 20 dribbling is slower but the ball was tighter at your feet, but FIFA 21 the dribbling is faster but the ball isn't as tight to your feet, the ball moves more freely. So yeah, just like I said before, last year the ball was tight to your feet, you know what I mean? You didn't really have to worry. Sometimes you did get them mad touches where the ball would go hella far, which was annoying and did happen like on a regular basis, but the ball was still tight at your feet. This year the dribbling's more faster, but it's more like real life, fam. You can make way more mistakes now. The ball can just fly off your feet if you're not careful, blood, you know what I mean? But this was only for me though, so this wasn't like the opposing CPU never made no big mad touches, blood. It was only happening to me, blood. You get me, blood? So once again, that's another disadvantage that the game puts you at. As I say, the game doesn't put it at a 50-50, blood, you know what I mean? Someone always has an advantage, and when you're playing against the CPU, they always have the advantage, fam. More time than none, you get me? Then number 10, that being said, you take more heavier touches, so you have to be careful sprinting at a defender, holding sprint when receiving the ball, and sprinting out of a dribble. So when you're sprinting at a defender this year, you can't just skill. That's not gonna work. You can't run skill. Just like last year, you have to run. Then when you're about to reach a defender, slow down, start to walk, and then do your skill move, you know what I mean? But if you think you can just run and then boom, then do your skill, that ain't gonna work, fam. What else did I say? Holding sprint, yeah, holding sprint when receiving the ball. I was in a tight situation, and what do you call it? I used a low driven pass, blood, and then I was holding sprint because I just wanted to sprint straight away. The ball went hella far, but there was a player right next to me, blood, you know what I mean? So the ball obviously went straight to the CPU. So whether it was that, I don't know, but either way though, the ball definitely moves more freely this year, fam, just like in real life. Last year the ball was way too tight to your feet. This year that's changed. It's more like real life. The ball moves a bit more freely. It's not mad, you know what I mean? You're not taking mad big touches like in peasanting, but the ball definitely does more freely. It's still under control, but it does move more freely. Number 11, strafe dribbling is wavy, and while sprinting, if you hold L2 or LT, fuck Xbox, at the same time is a nice trick to beat harder CPU. They still react to your button inputs, but but move. Wait. Oh, sorry. See, I didn't put my I didn't put my what do you call it? My apostrophes and all of them things there, blood. The commas and that, for my punctuations were all out of whack. That's why I didn't get that. They still react to your button inputs, but that move is too sudden to lock on instantly, so it gives you a few milliseconds to whip up a ting. And when I say they react to your button inputs, I mean when you do a move, you don't execute it and then the CPU reacts. You input a move, they know exactly what you're doing, because dickheads, and react before your player has even executed what you inputted. This trick is more OP the harder the CPU. So basically, when you're running, run, like you're on the wing, run. Keep on holding the running button, hold L2 or LT, and boom it. You can just like turn very quickly, you know what I mean? Obviously, the CPU got like, yo, what just happened, fam? That was way too sudden for me to react. So it gives you a few milliseconds to put off a pass or take on a shot, you know what I mean? So that's just a little tip for you right there, you know what I mean? It would also definitely work online as well, you know what I mean? Number 12, low-rated players or players in general still can do what they shouldn't be able to, e.g. Matic making acrobatic movements although he's a slug IRL. So yeah, basically when you're playing the CPU, they still can do things that are out of the ordinary, you know what I mean, things they shouldn't be doing, fam, which this is what I'm saying, it's always going to be in the game and that, fam. So yeah, that's just to still make the CPU OP and that, you know what I mean? But it happened on my team. Matic was on my team, but it also happens on the CPU team, where a slow player like a Busquets will just be moving hella mad, hella pacey, and a Matic will be moving hella mad and hella pacey, or just a Lingard or a Daniel James will be bodying your blood, when you know in real life they ain't doing that, fam. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying, the game's not realistic, fam. which is annoying, but once again, it is what it is. Number 13, more aesthetics around the pitch. For example, players in the dugout and medical team on standby. I can't remember if that was in FIFA 20, but yeah, I did realize that on both teams there was players sitting in the dugout, your subs and that, and there was a little what do you call, the medical benches, the medical beds, I mean, that they put you onto, and then that are normally in the ambulances with the wheels. Yeah, that was on there, and then there was like 2 medical stuff in front of it and thing, which was kind of nice and that, you know what I mean. And then on Be a Pro, your team is still stagnant and don't defend until an opposing player is right next to them, and that's what makes the opposing CPU so OP. Because your team's stagnant, that makes it so much easier for the opposing CPU to cut passing lanes, mark players, and double or triple press you on the ball. And that's what makes the game modes dead, because football IRL is about fluidity. You are put at so many noticeable and minor disadvantages that if you don't have a football brain, you won't notice most of them. There is still a 50-50 chance your team or opposing CPU won't take their chances like on a one-on-one. They won't take the chances basically with intelligence, or just run into the keeper, hit it horribly, or may hit it with exquisite finesse depending on how they're feeling. You get me? So that was a bit long there, but yeah, your players, they're still stagnant, blood. You still have to command them and tell them to do this and that, even though you're playing Be a Pro and you shouldn't have to do that, fam. You're supposed to just concentrate on your player. So the game is basically still the same as, you know what I mean, all them other times, fam. And yeah, your players, when they're on a one-on-one, they still sometimes can't compute to take a shot, fam. They'll just run into the goalkeeper. Sometimes, yeah, they'll just hit it with mad, like, for example, like a 67 player hitting a ball with hella power and hella, like, finesse and that, blood, and hit it hella top corner, or just hit it, like, with stats that, just they're not capable of. You know what I mean? So that still happens, but more times as well, there's still a 50-50% chance that they just won't hit it properly, blood. They'll just run into the keeper like they normally do, or just take hella long, blood, and then just hit it horribly and hit it wide. That happens with my players, and also on like manager career as well, blood, when like you're playing a game and the opposing CPU doesn't hit a shot well on a one-on-one and you know they should have scored it. Things like that, it just makes the game dead, you know what I mean? Like, take the chances, it is what it is. And then I got number 16, your player still runs like he's half dead when you have half stamina bar, and the opposing CPU still catch up to you with ease when you can clearly see the drain of energy too. So yeah, when you have half a stamina, your player still does that, 2 arms in front of him like a fucking T-Rex, blood. Is bare annoying, fam. Just like in FIFA 20, that animation is so jarring when I see it, fam. Honestly, blood, like, you have half stamina left, bruv, you know what I mean, and your player still acting like he's got none left, blood. It's long. And when the CPU, when obviously you're in that state, you're not going anywhere, but when it's the CPU, they just get some next powers from the ancestral youths or something, blood. Like, I don't get it, blood. It's long, fam. Very long. Number 17, the new rewind feature. The new rewind feature is used by going to replays using L2 or R2 or LT and RT, fuck Xbox, to navigate the clip as usual, and pressing the touchpad to jump back into it. So you use L2, R2, rewind, go forward, hold the touchpad, and then boom, you're back into wherever you stopped it at. But what you can't do, which is a good thing, is if they're like banging a goal, you can't then stop it and then go back. Nah, you can't do that. You can't do that, fam, you know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't cheat the game like that, which is a good thing, you know what I mean? Only if it's during like just open play and they haven't scored yet, then you can do that, you know what I mean? Then 18, navigating the menu is still a bit slow at some points. If you know your way around the menu and don't have to think twice about what you're doing, you can't and you don't have to think about what you're doing, and you can just make snappy selections, especially in the transfer market hub. That probably didn't make sense because my mouth's bare dry. 1 minute. My mouth's bare dry, there's bare words, but basically The menu in FIFA 21 still is not snappy, fam. You know when you just been on the game for like 2 months and you just go boom, 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 boom. You know exactly what you're doing. You don't have to think twice. You know where what is. You just can hit consecutive buttons and be where you are. You know what I mean? You still can't do that, fam. You maybe do 1, 2, and then you have to wait for the game to like load up again, and then boom. It happens on the transfer hub as well. When you're like searching for a player, and then it's taking hella long, and then you press search, and then it takes long again. Like I know there's hella players in the database and I have to separate them and all of that, but fam, it's FIFA 21, fam. Come on now, fam. 21st century, fam. Come on now, blood. You man should be doing better than that. You get me? And then 19 overall, the online game was like Ultimate Team, online friendlies, seasons, etc, where you're controlling the whole team, is where the faster dribbling and faster paced gameplay along with good servers will come into play. Because the CPU will always be faster in every way depending on the level you play them at, it's intelligence, clever passing and skill moves that I know is beat CPU. Think of it like a fight. The CPU is some next henchman with brute strength but not too brainy, and you're some next skinny guy but smarter, and you use intelligence to win the fight. That's how it is to beat the CPU, fam. It's your intelligence, the skill moves, you know what I mean? That's what beats them, not your pace and all of that, fam. But online, that's when the pace, that's when the faster dribbling will all come into play, because it's 2 human beings playing. Even though the game still can be scripted and still servers are still going to be slow 100%, you know what I mean? All of that stuff will still come into play and be more of an advantage because it's 2 human beings playing with each other, you know what I mean? And then number 20, what I got, my overall take on FIFA 21 and what it will be. Well, guys, FIFA 21 once again is gonna be dead. You know what I mean? It might be decent. Obviously, they got the gameplay improvements in terms of the faster dribbling. The gameplay is a bit faster in that. Passing and all that stuff didn't seem a problem, I can't lie. The passing was more fluid and that, fam. It wasn't like bare mistakes like last year. To be honest, that's an easy thing to fix because last year was ridiculous, fam. Like, I don't know why they couldn't just bring it out in a patch or so. Maybe they did. I don't play the game, so you know what I mean? I don't know if they did or not. But either way, that was noticeable, you know what I mean? But yeah, the gameplay was faster, dribbling was faster. But the thing is with EA Blood, they could like make like a pro clubs thing where pro clubs and be a pro is all connected, fam, and then bring some next storyline just like NBA Blood, Ultimate Team. You can customize this and that, Blood, but it doesn't matter about those things if the gameplay is still dead, fam. You know what I mean? It's a thing where EA never give us one or the other, Blood. They don't give us mad content and improve every game mode, and they don't give us nice gameplay and consistency, fam. You know what I mean? It's only a bit of one or the other, fam, and it never makes up for it, you know what I mean? So I think the gameplay is still going to be dead. Yeah, they said that Vault is improved, you can play with your friends, but that's the only thing though. When I went into Vault, everything was the same, Blood. You know what I mean? Loading screens, all of that, everything was the same. The only thing that's different is playing with your friends, and they know that playing with your friends improves the game immensely because you're playing with your boys, you're having a laugh, you're having, you know what I mean, a fun time. That's what brings most of these game modes alive, fam. So they know if they bring friends into it, they don't have to improve the game, because even though it's dead, no matter how dead the game is, when you're playing with the man, them more times, 8 times out of 10, it's going to be fun. So that's my prediction, Blood. FIFA 21 is still going to be dead because they've hardly made any content changes and the gameplay is still going to be dead. You know what I mean? You get me? So that's why I think it's going to be dead, because the gameplay is going to be dead, fam. So the day that we get mad content, yeah, and the gameplay improves, I don't know when that's going to be, fam. As I said, there's going to have to be some mad technological advancements for that thing to happen. You know what I mean? Where where you can use VR to play FIFA, fam, and it's bare fluid, fam, and you're playing in some next way, Blood. But yeah, I don't see FIFA 21 being good though, not gonna lie. I'm gonna be that guy to wait on it with NBA 2K21, and now exactly next gen's coming out, so all these current games that are coming out like FIFA 20 and FIFA 21 and NBA 2K21, you know what I mean, they're currently in the process of making current gen but prioritizing next gen. So I don't have hope for the current gen thing, so I'm gonna wait, hold on to it, see what people are saying about NBA 2K21 in the first month, and then I'll probably get it. Same thing with NBA Same thing with FIFA 21. But yeah, that's me though, blood. So been your boy man line Jais, and I'm out of here, cuz. When the girl blows me like a flute, blow after blow like rounds on a zoo. She's a pro, can't lie, no dispute. Hall of Fame sloppy toppy with the attributes. I'm tickling, Hamadullah oblongata. She begging, baby go harder, relax with that. I ain't trying to be a father. If yours find out, it would be slaughter.